Hello everybody, it's the start of a brand new month in Eternal, so of course, you all know what that means. That means we had the Eternal Tournament of Power! We took every single sub-deck that we had over the last month, 45 of them this time. We limited it to one deck per sub or patron this time. We still had 45 different entrants. Big shout outs to all the people who make this possible by supporting, because man, that is a huge amount. I really do appreciate it. And we ended up with some science. We did some science on all these decks, faced them off in ranked, and we came out with one winner on top. It's an Elysian deck by Walking Sponge, sent in by Walking Sponge. He was saying that he did get it off of Eternal Warcry, but does not remember the original author. I could not find it myself, but this deck is very sweet. I've talked about this before. If you go back in my videos, there's one that's called Infested Shimmerpack that was pretty sweet at one point, and I really like this one. This is a very cool little list. It's kind of a similar idea to like the tempo lists that were running around, being just aggressive Elysian units doing Night Maul stuff, but it drops the Nightfall things and just keeps things like Cykalis, and instead runs like Amaran Stinger and keeps the Teacher Humility and the Dusk Raider. And what you do is you go for a massive Shimmerpack. So the idea is that we're going to be playing a lot of ramp units. I'm going to go through the deck real quickly and break it down. So we've got some big ramp units in Initiate of the Sands. We have the Amber Acolytes and Aurelian Merchants, so we're making sure that we're hitting our sigils when we need them. Aurelian Merchant is pumping us some extra power. And then what we're going to do is we're going to use all that to get out very quick and cheap Shimmerpacks. So eventually, these are awesome because they not only ramp you, but they also give a unit onto the board. And once you hit 8, then you just Shimmerpack your opponent and boom, hit them for like 40 damage out of nowhere. Another very key card is you'll notice, of course, Shimmerpack is only in the market. You don't want to draw multiples. So we have two different merchants to get them, both the Great Valley Smuggler and the Aurelian Merchant. And the real combo, too, is to get a Dusk Raider out. So when you have Dusk Raider, every unit you draw gets Berserk. Drawing from your market gives Berserk. It's considered a draw. So you can trade immediately for the Shimmerpack from your market, give it Berserk. When you use Shimmerpack, it transforms any number of units into copies of Shimmerpack. I guess I should go over this because Shimmerpack used to be a really big card, but hasn't been for a while. It got nerfed a long time ago, like well over a year. And it hasn't really seen a lot of use since, but it's still a very powerful card. So you can transform any number of units into copies of Shimmerpack. That includes your own units and your opposing units. And, of course, if it has an ability from Inspire, like Berserk off of Dusk Raider, then all of the units that you transform also have Berserk. On top of all of that, one of the things that you use to break parity, because if you, say, each have a fairly wide board, you might have to transform some of their bigger units, like Moktos are really good to transform, or like they have a Karia or Ryzen, or anything like that. You might need Varas, the, deadly death, life touch, life steal Varas, sorry. You might want to actually transform them off of Shimmerpack. And the way that you break parity on that, so where you both have like a similar board position, is then you also have Xenan Obelisk. So your Shimmerpacks are going to be a little bit larger. That's the idea. So what you do is you want to lay down a bunch of early beats, keep your opponent on the back foot, and just keep on building a wide board, generating a bunch of card value. You can like slam them with Teacher. Teacher can end games if you get it on turn anyways, just all on its own. Use Temple Scribe to just keep drawing extra cards and put out units. Amaran Stinger, same kind of thing. You just get a bunch of free Scorpions out of nowhere. We have Cykalis to just keep up pressure on our opponent. Lumen Shepherd generates free Wisps, and you can actually trade those back and forth in your market to get things like Shimmerpack or a Vault of the Praxis if you need to. And then, of course, you eventually Xenan Obelisk and Shimmerpack, like we said. Scouting Party is a sweet little card that has occasionally seen some work in these decks before. So again, when Shimmerpack was a thing, Scouting Party was a lot bigger, because making 4 Yetis is really awesome when all you want to do is immediately transform them into 4 4s or 6 6s. And now with Dusk Raider, you can give them all Berserk very easily. So that gets really disgusting. When you realize that you go Scouting Party into Shimmerpack and you're instantly dealing 24 times 2 damage, so dealing 48 damage off of them, that's a pretty big game, as it were. We have a couple of Permafrosts as ways to deal with things, and of course Equivocate out of the market to help out as well. Vault of the Praxis is just there, so if you kind of get stuck where you don't have a whole lot of power, but you need to keep drawing cards and keep digging and trying to get to more things, you can get a Vault of the Praxis instead of just immediately going for Shimmerpack and continue to try and wait until you can get enough power to hit the Shimmerpack. Generally not a problem because, like I said, this deck actually has a lot of ways to generate extra power, so Shimmerpack's been pretty easy to get down most of the time in this. It's got a passage of Eons to fight out hate from other decks. The card that I don't really like is Lumen Reclaimer. I'm not really certain why it's here. It feels a little bit extraneous, not super necessary. You're not going to be drawing through your entire deck. If you do, I mean, yeah, I'm not sure when you would ever really need to do that, but it's an interesting card, I suppose. You can do some things with it. It is nice to get rid of opposing graveyard. So it is one thing that Lumen Reclaimer does do. You often look at it as shuffling your own things back in. It can be really good hate for an opponent who's on, say, like Haunting Scream. So that could certainly be it. I wouldn't mind, instead of Lumen Reclaimer, something like a Sandstorm Scarf, which I feel does a very similar thing for a little bit cheaper and maybe just a little bit more effective sometimes too. Yeah, so that's the deck. We're going to run it through some games and we'll see how things go. Stick around.